Hey, so today I have a very special guest for you. Are you ready? Welcome to the Saymichael podcast. What up, what up, what up? What's going on? What's up, man? Welcome to the Saymichael podcast, women's attempt at business, family, and comedy. You know who I am. I'm your humble and gracious host, Michael Aigbedion. And look, before we continue, I must introduce our very special guest. Are you ready to know who this person is? My boy, Sri Raj. Let's give it up. Let's give it up to my boy Sri. Let me tell you about my guy Sri. One of the most hilarious guys I know. And we started comedy around the same time, 2019. And he's been going hard ever since. You could catch him in Houston, you catch him in Florida, California maybe. But you could especially catch him in Dallas. He's hilarious. And if you ever get a chance to come down and see us do anything, you want to make sure you see him. Because he's the guy you want to see. And I just want to kind of introduce the things that I love about this guy and kind of share his story and, let this be a get to know you moment because he will be back. And when he's back, we're going to get to the nitty gritty. So as I bring to stage my boy, Sri Raj. What's good? What's good? What's good, bro?
What's the deal,
What's
man?
going down?
What's good, man? 64.
Yeah, bro.
Episode 64. Man, I remember episodes like 9 and 8 too.
Yeah. How long ago is that though, bro?
I probably started listening to it. I try to catch it whenever you put out like a new episode. I try to like catch it within that week. Otherwise, you're like putting out another one.
Bro, the catch up is super hard. You know what I mean?
It is.
And there's somebody who like DM'd me, and it was actually a woman who listens, and she was like, I'm actually binging it like while I work, and I was like, I'm afraid to ask how far behind you are. She's like, yeah, I'm like 15 episodes behind, and I'm like, listen to every single one. I didn't know people were like back to back, stuff like that, you know?
No, that's cool though.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, I know, it's kind of dope, yeah.
I kind of jump around. I'm not gonna lie. I jump around just because like, I'm just like, let me just put something on when I'm driving or something, but I'll always try to make sure to like catch it, you know? Like I'm always like, oh, I wonder what's going on, because we don't see each other all the time, so it's cool seeing you too.
Yeah. So, all right, the last time we even like connected was right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like literally, like at Backdoor.
Yeah.
And this is Backdoor Comedy in Richardson. So can you give, like, there's a lot to catch up on. Like,
yeah, for sure.
How has the pandemic affected you in like overall? Because, you know what I mean? Like, are you good? Is your fam good? Like,
okay, so overall wise, family, everything, we're good. Work wise, everything is cool. I mean, I've definitely put on a few pounds, 100%. I've gained weight, dude. That's like the worst thing that's happened this pandemic. And it's like me and my wife have like completely forgotten how to cook lunch. You know? We're like 2 meal people now. We're like, if we get Chipotle, we can eat it for lunch and dinner. It's just so easy, right? So no, that's pretty much like the worst of it. Luckily, like a lot, like we've done okay work wise. We just bought a house in Richardson.
Oh, congrats!
Yeah,
wow, let's go. House owners, okay.
Appreciate it.
That was live. That's live.
Yeah, and Dallas market is way too crazy right now.
Yeah, I know, it's super inflated.
Yeah.
Don't even get started on Austin. I had a boy who was trying to move to Austin, and the homes he was looking for about $1 million. I know, and this is like last year. You know what I'm saying? This is like last year. And then he said he looked recently, and the homes that are going for $1 million are now like 2.7, 3.1.
Wow.
Yeah, like it's changed that dramatically.
This is going to be California.
Yeah.
It's going to be California. I feel like if you don't get a house in like the next 2-3 years, good luck.
Yeah.
That's what me and my wife got together. We were like, let's buy one.
Is that why? Is that what made y'all move?
We just, it was just that time, we'd been in Uptown. We did our Uptown thing for about 3 or 4 years. This is the thing. I have a house in Frisco that I rented out. I was the suburb guy.
Oh, live.
And then I got with my girl, and she was like, I'm not trying to be the suburb chick, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, but like, look at all this land. Look at all this place. Like, you don't like this house? And she was like, nah, let's go to Uptown. So I was like, all right, you know what? Our plan was to always rent that house out anyway. Me and my brother bought that house.
Oh, okay.
So we rented it out. And at that time, he was getting married and he was moving with his on with his life. So I was like, all right, I gotta make some moves too.
How long ago was this?
This was about like 5 years ago.
Okay.
So me and Mita, my wife, we ended up moving to Uptown in the Oak Lawn area. We lived there. We've lived at these apartments for like 3-4 years now. Loved it, but at some point, you know, she's kind of like, we're at that point where now we're like, hey, it's time to, maybe we'll settle down, get a house. You know, she's seeing her family have kids. My brother just had a baby and stuff, so.
Wow, congrats.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, wow. So you're uncle now.
I'm an uncle. I'm the big uncle.
Yeah. So hold on. So is this the first, this is like the first nephew or the?
Yeah, so it's the first niece of like our generation on her side.
Wow.
And then the first nephew of our generation on my side.
Wow. How do your
So,
parents feel? I bet they feel like finally we're accomplished.
yeah, I think, dude, I'm so happy. I'm like, you know what you just did to my little brother? I was like, you've taken it off me.
Yeah, for real.
I was like, you've saved my life. I owe your family generations. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Because it's like in our cultures, you know, like immigrants and stuff. It's our cultures like getting married, going to college. Like you have to do those
these
things.
are boxes you have to check. Yeah,
right? You have to check. And some of us, you know, now like our generation, we want to take a little bit longer in some areas here and there, right?
Yeah.
So, and we want to do it when we're ready.
Yeah.
You know, like my dad was typical. Like he was like, I left to America when I was 25 and I had 2 kids already. You know, and I was like, I don't even remember 25.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
25 is a haze. You know, like, that's all it was. So it's different for our generation. But we're super happy though. Love having the babies in the family, man. It's awesome. It's an awesome time.
You know when people say like, all right, you know, pressure, people that, you know, put pressure, do you get the outside pressure?
We do. Like, I mean, you get pressure from your family and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, at this point, you know, when you're a little bit older, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm in my 30s now, right?
Yeah.
So it's easy to kind of be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
You know, like,
but you know, when they say, oh, they want you to have, you know, not even that, like, you know, when they come over here and they're 25, have 2 kids, they have a whole family, things were different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like now more people are getting married in their 30s.
Yeah.
Because people just aren't ready. You know,
sure.
and like, who can you trust at 22, 23 type thing? You know what I mean?
For sure. And there's the other, like the financial part about it too.
Yeah.
Because I'm always like, dude, Dad, you bought this house.
Yeah.
Like your first paycheck was the down payment. You know, like, you know what I'm talking about? I was like, that is not the same that's happening right now.
Yeah.
Like, I look at my bank account a lot now.
Yeah. That's funny because my mom, she, you know, there's a moment that you become, I guess, where you financially stable, right? And I think that moment is when you don't check, you know, like your bank account before you get gas, you know?
Yeah.
Because I used to tell mom, I was like, yeah, I'm going to this gas station because, you know, it's cheaper. And then she's like,
Yeah.
I don't even know the price of gas. She didn't even know the price of gas for the last like 6 years just because she just pumps. You don't even...
See, that's nice.
Yeah, exactly.
That's nice.
Yeah. And that's when I knew, okay, when I get to that level, I'm good, you know, so...
I kind of feel like I mean, we're gonna fill up no matter what.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I'm not doing that now. You know where
Yeah.
I'm at now. I used to be okay. I got like $10. I can do 10.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna do 10. And I can like live off the week off 10.
Yeah.
You know? But now I'm like I'm getting a full tank.
Yeah,
I need a full
it's
tank.
funny, bro, to think that we used to quarter tank it, half tank, try to get to the next spot. You're looking at, and this again, I'm talking about like for me, I'm 36, so you're looking at like, 10 years ago, I'm over here like, okay, this gas station definitely got a better gas price. I could save 6 cents per gallon. So stupid, you know what I mean? Like, such a waste of time.
I play the game. I'm like, I used to do the chung okay, 99, chung got it.
Yeah, exactly. So tell me, like, okay, I met you like 3 years ago. Actually, though, my first night going up, I met you that night, you know, and it's at Backdoor Comedy, and they call it like your home spot, your home comedy spot, and you know, since then you actually been doing it a little bit earlier than me, you know, so
I started a few weeks, like a month earlier.
Yeah. And tell me, like, what has your journey been in comedy, also with being married, also with having a job and the pandemic? Tell me, like, I know it's a lot to fill in, but
yeah, I will. I actually think about this story a lot because I actually knew someone that was doing comedy in New York. And I had texted him and I was like, hey, I'm starting to go out to open mics. Just kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit on like how to run the scene, that sort of thing.
Huh, before you even get to that, how'd you even think to even go to a comedy? I didn't know to even.
Oh, to an open mic?
Yeah, I had
no idea either.
I didn't have any idea.
You know, I say this a lot. If I had known like in college or something,
I know.
I was like I was like 30 when I found out what an open mic was. I was like, people do this? This is something we can do, right?
Bro, I had no idea, and that's why I'm like, how'd you know? Because I know you probably said I could have done this earlier.
Yeah, 100%, all the time. I say it all the time, but I know, and I'll follow up with something.
Yeah,
like that. But I was always into comedy, super young. It's just one of those things. Like when my dad first moved over here, like his biggest thing was he's like, I don't want my kids to suffer like communications wise, because that's like a thing for him. He's got an accent. He's always kind of, his English isn't that great. So he was like, he made sure like when we came over here, like we were poor. We were like the poor Indian family, but we had cable.
Yeah,
it was really weird.
yeah.
It was really weird. Like we'd be like, yo, we getting dinner tonight? Nah, but we can watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And like watching TV so young and so early, I like, your voice just changes. Like your communication gets better. And I've always like, we'd always like for the longest time, I'd always remember like stand up being on our TV, and I got really into it super young. My brother got really into it too. Like we would listen to comedians all the time. I just had no idea like how they started. I had no clue how they started. I was just like, man, I wonder if they're like, I always was like, oh, you moved to California and that's, you either do something.
I thought you just got chosen to
something like
that.
And
you just practice it and then you just go on. I didn't know that there was a thing.
Me either.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
Yeah.
And then I started, and then, college stuff happens, life kind of happens.
Yeah.
Was very immigrant family, right? They were like, I was a biology major in college, and I definitely called my parents, and I was like, I'm not going to be a doctor.
Hold on, at what point in college did you tell them that?
I told them that junior year, because that was the year that we had to take the MCAT. And I was like, I can't take this test. I was like, oh, I'm barely passing college math. You think I'm taking that MCAT, dude? It was bad, bro. I was sitting there on the bench outside my counselor's office. I was like, I'm afraid to make this call.
I know.
My parents freaked, dude. They were like, what are you gonna do? So I was just like, let me figure it out. I got lucky. I got some internships I got an internship at Merrill Lynch, cold calling, got into sales. Now, and then from sales, I transitioned into recruiting. So I'm an IT recruiter during the day. I work for a company. They give me like these special requirements to find people, and all my job is I get on LinkedIn, I get on these job boards, and I find these people. We get
coaching,
we get them through the interview and all that stuff. I'm not poaching, man. I'm very easy. I'm like, hey, you apply for the job? Cool. Let's see. We'll figure it out, right? So I do that during the day. My wife's an internal auditor, so we're okay. Like
internal auditor,
she's an accountant. She's an internal auditor. So she does like all the finances stuff. So it works very well in the house. I'm like the artist. Artist. And she's like handling all the money and stuff. But it's cool. Like what her mentality is now, like with my comedy game and stuff. But yeah, I was in college when the fraternity. My friends started getting married. They started asking me to do these best man speeches, and you can't make a best man speech whack.
Yeah, I already know.
Yeah, you gotta make it good. So I nailed like 4 of them. Dude. I'm talking tears, laughs. I should have won some Emmys. Like an Oscar performance. And after the 4th one, someone came up to me and was like, you do stand-up comedy, don't you? And I was like, no. I was like, no, not at all. And they were like, oh, well, I could totally see you doing that. And it had always been something, you want it.
Hold on, was that the first time someone has ever kind of...
No, people have said it, but at that moment, it triggered something. Because like at that moment, I was like, man, I wrote something. I prepared this. I practiced this. And now it's over. Like I did it. I owned it. And now it's over. And I was like, man, I want to do this again. I want to do this. And after I got married July of 2019. Right. So we July 13, 2019. I gotta keep saying that. Gotta remember
Yeah. You like it?
Yeah. I was scared a little bit. I was like, oh my god. But yeah, so got married, went on our honeymoon, came back, and I was just like, hey, do you want to like I'm trying to figure out like what to do, like how do I do this or whatever. And I just remember typing in like comedy Dallas. Like shows, and then I think Chocolate Secrets open mic popped up, and there's a club, the Elephant Room, the Green Room or something like that. They had a open mic. That's when I started seeing this term open mic, and I remember googling open mic like a loser. Like, open mic, yeah. And then I was like, oh, this is the thing. This is what people do. I was like, so, and then I just started going to open mics. I didn't go up.
Yeah.
I didn't go up.
You just kind of like felt the scene. Like,
I was like figuring out with Mita. I dragged her to, we went to probably 5 or 6 open mics, sat there from 10 p.m. to like 2 a.m. I feel so bad for this.
You put her through it? Yeah.
I put her through it, dude. Yeah. Like the 5th or 6th time. She was like, I'm not coming anymore. She was like, either you're getting up on stage or I'm not, I just don't want to go. Like, so I signed up. My biggest thing was like, when you do that, when you watch comedians for like 5 or 6 blocks and you watch these 5th or 6th block comedians, right? And you're like, these guys are talking about some crazy stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's those late block comedians can get kind of wild.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, if these guys are talking about this, I think I could get a chuckle.
Yeah,
I think I could get like a chuckle, right? So, and that's just kind of how it started. And then, you know how it is, you get into the DFW comedy groups, and then you start to go to more and more open mics, and then it just kind of snowballs.
Exactly. Yeah. So how have you seen it change? Like, did you stop doing it when the pandemic hit last March, or did you kind of like go in a little bit here and there, or was it like, how was that?
So last March when the pandemic hit, the crew that I hang out with, the crew that I run with, everybody stopped. Like, we were like, hey, it's not good. Like when touring comedians stopped is like when I think it really kind of stopped, right? And I immediately took to TikTok. I got on TikTok. I got on TikTok like crazy. And I just started rolling with TikTok, and I was making like 3 or 4 videos a day. I didn't know if I could do a Zoom mic. I did a couple Zoom open mics and stuff. Yeah. It was very okay. Yeah. Just wasn't the same feeling. And in my mind, I had switched over to TikTok so fast, because in my mind, TikTok became, like, for me, it was like Saturday Night Live. Oh, yeah. Like, that's the mentality I took. I was like, these are sketches. This could be my Chappelle show, the Sri show, like Saturday Night Live. Like, that's how I made my sketches. Yeah. Like, that's what I put into it. And I got really into it, dude. I remember doing, like, these videos, and they would take, like, 4 hours to do sometimes. Right. And I was like, man, I cannot believe people do this. Yeah. Like, TikTok, like, people rag on TikTok sometimes, right? And people were like, oh, you're older, you're on TikTok and stuff. And I'm like, well, how else do you grow your social media now? Yeah, exactly. You know, like, what are you doing to grow your social media? Facebook? No.
I know, but why'd you choose TikTok versus like Instagram and all that?
So I wanted to do TikTok because the TikTok, it's really easy to edit on TikTok, make a quick video.
Yeah, they make it all, it's all make it quick,
in-house. Clean and crisp, right? And it also tags your like name at the end, right? It's like at Sri Mix-a-Lot. Like, that's what I'm on Instagram, and I can share it from TikTok to Instagram to Snapchat to all my other medias. Like, I was okay with that, and I was like, and people were like, "Oh, the Chinese is gonna get your information." And I was like, all the Chinese knows is that I dress like a lady sometimes on TikTok. All right, that's it. Do what you want with that information, you know.
But I have questions about that too. You know, like when it comes to, first off, you know, Instagram, they said they're not gonna push. You know,
TikTok videos.
TikTok videos
about Reels.
Yeah.
Reels.
Yeah, they said if it has a TikTok badge on it, they're not going to push it, right? Yeah. So they have their algorithm set up on that way. But then also, okay, at least I know this in the black community for sure. You know, I'm not sure how it works in the Indian community. I'm pretty sure it's like that with any community, really, that when a man puts on the wig, it gets weird after that. You know what I mean? Because the laughs are different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. No, well, see here, I didn't care. Yeah. You gotta look, I didn't care. My dad was there the day that I was like, Mom, I need like a 90. You know, I need like a 90. I was like, can you get something that can, like, you know, hold this? My dad was super weird about it. I dressed up like that in front of him. I put the outfit on, and I came out, and I was like, you about to see a ton of videos like this.
Because it's funny.
Because it's funny. Yeah. It's funny, and I'm like, it doesn't make me Bro, if anything, it makes me more of a man. All right, because I'm comfortable with my shit. I know what I'm about.
Yeah,
you know, like I didn't care. I didn't care at all. I was like, dude, it's for the videos. It's for the funny. When you know if it's gonna be funny, like I'm not gonna do anything like 50%. You know us. We're gonna go 100%, 110%.
Yeah, all day. Yeah,
you know, I'm gonna do what I think is gonna be funny. And those videos went viral, bro. Like half of my videos like went viral. Yeah, right. And I was like, oh my god, people watching this. Yeah, people are actually watching this. You know,
but that's why I say that I think it's like the risk is that because it's so. Now I won't say easy to get a laugh because you know, like when a woman mocks a man, like it's funny because. Yeah. That's not how men really are, and just when a man mocks a woman, it's not really it's all exaggerated, so it's automatically almost funny. Yeah. But when it becomes a popular thing, where let's say you're going viral for it, a lot of the people who've chosen that path of like just doing, like let's say not just doing, but they started at female characters, then they became solidly just a female character, and then they start to like act feminine. You know what I mean? Really?
Okay. Is that what Tyler Perry does? Is that?
Somewhat similar, you know, like it's just there's a few of them who are specifically for social media,
right?
You know, like so every now and then they'll get on, hey, what's up, man? Trying to like exaggerate their manhood, you know what I mean? And you know, and then when they get on, like, girl, you know, and it gets kind of weird. So it's almost like, who do they date? Like who are they with? And a lot of that has to. It muddies the line a little bit,
right? And I think that also kind of depends on like the videos you do. Like when I'm dressed up like my mother. Yeah, you know, I'm portraying like an old Indian lady. There are times when I've dressed like an Indian chick, whatever, but I've made it so outrageous. Yeah, right. It's not. That's the part, right? Yeah. Like I think. I have no idea, man. I feel like I don't have any female mannerisms or anything.
No,
like that.
I don't think so either. I'm just saying like. This is no judgment on me. I'm just talking about the fact of like, for example, Dave Chappelle had a little monologue about it, about how he went to go do this, you know, movie, and then, you know, they brought in a wig and a dress. He's like, I'm not doing that, period. Like he was staunch like against it. Yeah. And then he was like, the thing about it is that they want to emasculate the man and put, you know, a black man in a wig to make people laugh. And once you do that, you know, it's like, I guess all bets off, you know what I mean? Right. So I guess he took it very seriously. And it's at that moment that I didn't understand. I'm like, what's so huge about wearing it, you know? And I guess some people look at it as like a line, you know?
Right. And, dude, Chappelle is, we know Chappelle is greatest to do it all time. I also think that, you know, no matter how woke you are, how like, you know, progressive you are in some things, right? There may be some things that you're just not. You draw a line.
Exactly.
That's your stance.
It's a personal thing.
It's a personal thing. Yeah. For me, I was like, so in his case, I get what he's saying because for me, it was me doing that. No one was like, yo, should we put this on? Yeah. And dance, you know, like let's do it. And I was like, nah, I put it on. But if I could totally see myself, like if someone was like, hey, yo, do that. I could be like, nah, what are you talking about? I'd be like, yo, no, I only do that when I want to do that. Yeah. Right. So
like, let's get a little bit back around you and your family. So how many brothers and sisters do you got?
I have one younger brother. I've got one younger brother. I've got a lot of cousins, but they're all kind of spread out. Half of them are still in India. Right. So,
what part of India?
So we're from the South. We're South Indians.
Oh, okay.
Right? So like there's a city in India, Hyderabad, and then Chennai are like two major South Indian cities. So my mom's from Hyderabad, my dad's from Chennai. Me and my brother, we were both born in India, in Hyderabad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when did you come here? When did you come to America?
We came here so I'm 87. We came here probably like 92. Oh. 92, 93, and then we went back. Because my mom had like this, like, I miss my family. So we went back for a little bit, and then my dad was like, nah, come back. And then we went back.
So how was like the transition? Because, you know, see, I'm first generation. So I was born here.
Right.
And, you know, one of my friends, actually one that you talk about, Addy Daddy Seasoning.
Yeah,
he was born in Nigeria, came here when he was 6. You know, and it is a difference of being born here and then being born there and being brought here. Yeah. You know, so I guess, is there a difference for you as far as like being Indian or?
For sure. There was a lot of moments where it was like, I'm not American enough for the Americans and I'm not Indian enough for the Indians kind of thing. You're just kind of like this there's a kind of like this identity crisis because you're this kid that's kind of back and forth and you're trying to mesh both worlds. And it's hard when your parents are immigrants that are trying to hold on to one part of their world so bad, right? Because when we came here to Texas, like when we moved to Texas, my parents were so happy because so many Indians in Texas, they basically moved to like, you know, like it was Plano was very Asian populated, Indian kids. It was very comfortable for them, right? And they still retained, we did a lot of Indian things in Plano, which is awesome. I love my culture. I love being Hindu. I identify as Hindu. I love being Indian, right? But then there's this whole other side to it that they didn't understand. Like they were like, what? Like I would come home and I'd come home and I put on like BET for like 106 in Park, like Black Basement, and they'd be like, "What the hell is this?" And I was like, "This is what I like, Dad." You know, they didn't understand. They were so like they were okay with me playing the violin, but then when I bought my turntables, they were like,
"Oh wow!"
They were like, "What's this?" And then when I started coming home with money, my dad changed his tune completely.
That's all.
He was like, "Oh, you're
okay." Yeah. So as far as like the culture, you're kind of going into like, you know, like what you like. So you liked like BET type stuff.
So
it's like urban culture that you're kind of like.
When I was in school, I used to bring Indian food to school sometimes.
Wow.
I used to bring Indian food to school every day because that was my mom. My mom was like very rarely did we get like sandwiches or, you know, Lunchables or something like that, right? So I got Lunchables. Dude, I was the kid. They'd be like, "Your backpack smells." They'd be like, "Your backpack smells. Your backpack's leaking oil, I think." You know, I was that kid. Yeah. White kids, true. Not trying to say anything, white people, love y'all. But they were the ones that were like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody else, Asians, black kids, Mexicans, didn't even care, dude.
Yeah.
Didn't even care. That was just like the tape. It was such like when I was growing up, like, yeah, we were all friends, like, whatever. But when it came to that, like, one aspect, like, I was like, I don't disrespect bologna.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but that don't look good to me. At least my stuff looks good.
Yeah.
You know, like I know it doesn't smell like, but I think it smells great. Yeah. Right? Like, you know, bologna don't smell good to me. You know, like, you know, I never said anything about it. So I was always kind of like, you know what? You always say like you sit with your crew at lunch. They ended up being, you know, it was like all like the Mexican kids, the Asian kids, the black kids, right? There was a couple white kids, right? But then as we grew older and older, it was just like that was always something that I gravitated to. And I also think comedy played a lot of, like, because you watch movies, and what movies am I watching at that time growing up? I'm watching Eddie Murphy. Yeah. I'm watching Beverly Hills Cop.
I was about to say Beverly Hills Cop.
I'm watching, like,
bro.
Dude, I'm watching like all these movies where I'm like, you know, you're like, man, it's kind of, you know, you're like, I kind of identify more on this side than I do on this side. Because I didn't have anybody to identify with on TV. It was either Apu or I don't.
How'd that go? Like, you know, when the whole outrage with Apu.
The voice thing?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. And you probably, I don't know if we've talked about this or whatever. I don't do an Indian accent in my comedy at all. I've never done it. I've actually tried it before, but then I get like this really weird feeling. What
is the feeling?
So when I went up, the day that I did my Indian accent joke, 2 other guys went up and did one Mexican guy did an Indian accent gas attendant joke, and then another guy did an Indian accent. Like,
was he Indian, the second guy?
No, he was a white guy doing a call center joke, right? And I was like, look at these guys.
Yeah.
You know, but I was like, man, you know what? Everybody's got this. Like, people hear this. Like, why would I go up one more time? I still did it because comedy-wise, you're like, you have to try it, right?
Yeah.
But in my mind, I was like, man, they just heard this accent like 6 minutes in a row. And everybody says it's like, it's different with you because you're really Indian. It's your real accent. You're doing your dad. You're doing your mom. You're doing someone that it's actually based off of. Yeah. But I was like, dude, they're doing it someone that they based off of too. They're gas station attendant. Yeah. They're an IT guy. Like, for me, in my mind, it never translated to like, oh, I should do it because I'm showing a unique part of my life. In my mind, I was like, well, you know what? If my writing is good, the writing is good, and the joke is good, they'll laugh at that. They won't laugh at the accent.
So you felt the accent kind of cheapened it?
Yeah, kind of. I thought it was, for me at that moment, and I'm not saying this for anybody, because some people do great sets. They have these great jokes, and they do the accents and stuff, right? A lot of comics I look up to do the accents. and stuff. And I'm not saying anything against them. I just think for me personally, it wasn't something I was like, you know what, not for me. I didn't have to be about that because there's so many people that are doing that, right? So
I love the accent though. You know, like, you know, for anybody who has a culture, you know, to support it, you know what I mean? Like Joe Coy,
right?
You know, when he does his like accent of his mom,
for
you
sure.
know that, you know, it's like funny. But see, there's sometimes where I'm a little bit offended too. Like Godfrey, he did one. I think he did the one with Tiffany Haddish.
Oh, I saw that, dude. I didn't like his. Is the one set that I didn't like. I liked everybody else's.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I didn't like his.
Yeah, he did one part. He's like, "Hey, call me out, yeah. And then he
did
do the
that.
spear. And I mean, not the spear, the blow dart.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what the hell? And he's Nigerian, so even historically, we never did blow darts. That's like a that's like a Sudanese or something like that. Like, so when the blow darts came, I was like, when did blow darts ever? Like, it literally confused me. And then my wife is like, I was like, that has nothing to do with our culture. And I thought it was like a cheap thing that he just kind of did the whole, that it's kind of like, you know, someone do the, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm like, you to do that would be like, you know what I mean? Like, well, dumb. And
we're going to see if we get to episode 65.
Yeah, and I look at that, I was just like, come on now. So basically, the accent to me has to be more purposeful versus
100%.
You know what I mean? Like just cheap.
If it accentuates your act and your story to a point that it's crushing, man, do it. No problem. Dude, there are great comics that do it. Russell Peters, the guys that I really like doing
Russell Peters is hilarious.
Russell Peters, Paul Varghese, Rod Sherman. These are the guys, like, these are the main Indian people that I'm seeing in the scene that I follow that you know, that help me out, mentor me out. These guys,
You're kind of under their wing a little bit.
Yeah,
Did you meet him recently? That was last year, right?
yeah, that was awesome.
You met
Russell Peters.
I
met Russell Peters. I got to do, I don't know how it happened. I got to do a guest spot on his show at the Addison Improv. It was awesome.
Whew. Man, I bet that was fire.
Dude, it was.
Russell Peters.
That shouldn't have happened, man. That shouldn't have happened.
Were you in the right place, right time? How did that happen for you?
So I was hanging out with Paul Varghese, another great Dallas comic. You know, I think one of the best to do it. He was the guy from Dallas to go up to Comedy Central and stuff, right? So he's in the game. He knows what he's doing. I feel very fortunate to kind of be like, you know, to like we hang out and stuff. He helps me like with my jokes and everything. Same thing with Rod Sherman, guy moved to California, you know, passed at the Laugh Factory on his first set. Right, amazing, right? So like, I'm very fortunate to be like under these guys' like wing. I was hanging out with Paul that weekend, and he was like, "Hey, you want to go say hi to Russell Peters?" And I was like, obviously, I was like, yeah. I was trying to be cool, and I was like, yeah. I mean, like I'll just hang out in the back. Like I don't even need to be in the room or anything like that because I didn't want to, you know, because. I was, you know, like, you know how it is. I was like, is this really happening?
Yeah.
Did this? I woke up that day, like, just chilling, dude. You know, I didn't know that he was going to do that. Very cool, Paul. He knows Russell. They've toured together. They've done stuff together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is awesome. So, went to Addison Improv. We went to the back of the green room, and he's chilling in there. He's talking. Paul's chilling in there. They're like bros. There's like, it's like us. They're just back and forth. They're like, how's everything going? They're like ragging on each other and stuff, right?
That's crazy.
Dude, it was so cool.
It's cool. It's crazy seeing a guy at that level having just a regular kick-it relationship with somebody that you have a really close relationship with.
Yeah,
so,
apparently he's super down to earth.
Yeah.
Like, he's really cool like that with comics. And especially, I think, like, you know, them being Indian kind of and them being on the road, like when they first started out, right? Like, they've always got that bond, which is kind of cool to see because it was like, watching like two old school buddies like just kick it, right? So yeah, they were just talking, and then Paul kind of looks, because I'm just kind of peeking in. I'm like quiet.
At this point, have you introduced yourself?
Yeah, like Paul's been like, hey, this is Sri. You know, he's like an up and coming comic in the scene. He's doing some stuff. He's a cool guy, whatever. Then they just start talking, right? So I'm just kind of like sitting there in the back all quiet, and then Paul looks over and he's like, Russell, can you take a picture with Sri? He's got to tell his wife that he's actually doing something.
Yeah. That's cool. Live.
Yeah. So Russell's like, yeah. He's like, and I'll tell you, this is the weirdest thing. He grabs the phone out of my hand, right? Like when he comes up to me, he grabs the phone out of my hand. He takes the selfie, and then he does some stuff. He like filters it out. I think it's because they control what pictures. At that level, he has to control everything that kind of comes out in media. Because I mean, I didn't stop him.
Yeah. Hold on. How did he? Oh, you took it on Instagram or something?
Yeah.
And then
he took my phone. He swiped up the camera. He held up this up, and I was like, whatever.
Yeah. But how do you filter it? Like,
no, and then he as soon as the picture's done, you know how it's like all that stuff comes up.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he just started doing stuff
with your phone. Like he's like, all right, yeah.
I was like, whatever you want to do. You want the phone?
Yeah.
Keep the phone.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Right. And Russell Peters put out a Def Jam comedy special that it's not on YouTube anymore, and it is the craziest special because it's the one special where he uses the N-word in that special, and he breaks it down into different, like how you use it different, how you can use it differently, right? And at the time, I was like, what is going on?
Hold on. Was he using it derogatorily?
No. He was explaining it in jokes. He was like, you can use it in this many forms, and he broke it down and he crushed it. That audience was like, and it was a heavy black audience, and he crushed it. He nailed it, and it was like, okay, it was cool. It's Russell Peters.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost kind of like, I think it was like Dave Chappelle right now.
Yeah,
he can kind of get away with.
Yeah.
Like, he can say stuff that other people kind of can't say. I told him, I was like, yo, watching that special, watching an Indian guy do that and just nailing it and just crushing it and just, you know, to this community as well, you know, that's crazy. You know, I could only wish to do something like that. And he came up close to me. He was like, yo, dude, that's awesome. He bro hugged me, and he was like, it's cool. He was like, I was scared as shit doing that set. He was like, I was scared as hell.
Why? Like, what do you think? Like
he's an Indian guy.
I know.
Saying that, breaking down the N-word in a room full of black. It was a Def Jam comedy special, so it was in a room full of black people. And he was like, dude, if they weren't about it, they would have let me know that they weren't.
Yeah. But see, it's like when for example, Louis C.K. had a set where he was using it too. And he used it in a smart way where it didn't like implicate him in a way, or
and Louis do the hard R.
Yeah, and a lot of black people saw it as funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's one of those things where, you know, like other people usually get offended on other people's behalf. Like, don't say that about black people. It's like, but black people, like, we love to laugh. Yeah. So basically, you know, I haven't seen that set yet, which I would love to see.
Yeah.
And so that something like that inspired you, the risk that he was taking.
Yeah, no, it was just like, and to see, and at that point, you know, there were no other Indian comics in the scene that were really at that level doing what he was doing. So it was just cool to see, and then for him to like acknowledge that he was like, yo, he was scared. And then in my mind, I was like, oh, this guy gets nervous before sets and stuff too. It's like one of those things that kind of like it like always brings you guys always brings you to the same plane.
Yeah, humbles you. I mean, humbles them a little bit, or what is that?
I think it just kind of puts us on the same level. Like, hey, you know, like he gets nervous before shows too. He wants it to go well. He's afraid of what, you know, if he's going to say anything wrong to mess something up. Yeah. Right? Obviously, it's not at the level that, because I'm stage fright anxiety. It's like,
you still have it like really bad.
Well, not really bad, but now I can like shove it down, right? But you still get everything.
Yeah, it still hurts, you know, because you know when your time is about to come up.
Yeah.
And you're just thinking, all right, because you're feeling the crowd out. You're seeing like what the moves are.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when they tap you or when it's about, then it's like, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but once you start talking, when does it go away for you? Like,
oh, I think for me, and this has been recent, I've been doing a lot of MC and stuff, and getting up there and doing the MC stuff, as soon as they call your name out and you get up there and then you say like your first quick joke and you get that laugh, boom, you're in. That's it. Then you're like, okay, I know this. I can flow right through this. I've done this. It's muscle memory.
Yeah.
At that point, right? So it's almost like an out-of-body experience. Sometimes you're just kind of watching yourself do your set.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's at that point. But I think it's cool that you still kind of get nervous and stuff because you're working new stuff out. You're always like, at the level that we're at, we're always writing. We're always working new stuff out. We're
constantly,
working new jokes. I don't ever want to lose this feeling of getting nervous and being excited. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
so it makes you feel alive whenever you feel that.
Yeah, for sure.
So are you taking more risks, or is it that you've always been a risky type guy when it comes to your comedy?
I don't know if I'm taking any risks right now. My jokes are like, you know, it's I'm sitting there trying to think about my jokes, dude. I'm like, yeah, I'm not the most risky. I'm not the most risky guy, but I think because, you know, when you like write a joke and you're like excited to do the joke, right? You've done it at open mics and it's gotten to the laughs and stuff, and then you're gonna do it on a show. You're like, dude, I'm so excited to do this joke. I think that's what it is more now. I think my writing has gotten better because I've taken a couple classes, Dean Lewis's comedy class, guys are interested. So.
Oh yeah. How's that?
I think it's a great class, dude. He just, dude, you can't teach funny, but you can teach fundamentals.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's his whole thing. Like
that's a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Copyrighted, Dean. Can't say that. Right? Yeah, but no.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he just he's like, hey, this is what a callback is.
Yeah.
Right. This is what, you know, like the rule of three, like these things that you wouldn't necessarily know if you weren't in the industry or the game itself for a long time, kind of. But you may figure it out eventually. But this just kind of gives you a little bit like, hey, this is how writers write. This is how professional writers write. Like this is what they do. This is how they work clubs. This is how they act in front of club managers and you know, things like that.
I think, you know, what I always think maybe the confusion a lot with, like, when it comes to people going to classes or getting coaches or mentors is that some people have some kind of, I don't know if you call it false pride on learning it the hard way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't learn what, let's say, a callback. You could learn that, you know, literally a year in to your comedy career, or you could have someone kind of teach you the fundamentals on it, so you could understand it before, so you could already start applying it. So I feel like there is a lot of value in like getting a coach or a mentor or somebody kind of showing you the ropes of what is to come and what the game is, because it just kind of makes your learning process a little bit faster, right?
Yeah, he's really respected here in the Dallas, especially with other Dallas comedians. Even the Addison Improv manager, they have, you know, they do this little ad together on Facebook or whatever. But he's like, hey, you know, this is, if you want to learn how to get better at writing and work in the clubs and stuff, take the class.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Take the class. You know, when you're learning something anyway, like, why wouldn't you want to, like, when you're doing something, you want to get better at it. Like, why don't you want to, like, learn from people that have been in the game and have done it, you know, more so than you have, and have seen stuff that you probably never have written stuff that may not be, you know, that is like an above level that you're writing. Because when you see that, you aim for it, right? You start to like, you're like, man, my writing is here. I want it to be up here. Yeah. So that's just.
But, you know, I don't know if this is even important to even say, but, you know, Seinfeld frowns upon it.
The classes?
Yeah. He thinks he went to a class to help teach a class, and he was telling everybody in there, he's like, everyone in this class, you're not going to go anywhere in comedy. And they're like, what? You know what I mean? He's like, why are you even here learning when you could be applying, go doing things like, he said, I would never take a class. And he was just like so against it. And, yeah, your thoughts?
No, okay, here. Okay, so Seinfeld, love him.
Yeah.
Love Seinfeld. I watched Seinfeld every day in college on my laptop. You know, I'm talking about, like, I used to get high and watch Seinfeld.
Yeah.
All right, like, that was just because I was poor and I had downloaded all the episodes. That was that was all I could watch in my apartment. Loved it. I read all about him, everything about him. I respect him a lot, right? One of the things that I noticed if you watched Coffee with you know, the first couple of seasons, when he's on that show, a lot of the times he would talk to a comedian, he'd be like, do you think these new comedians get it? Or they're not like us. Do you think these new comedians get it? They're not like us. They don't do the same stuff as we do. And I heard that that stood out to me. It was like glaring to me. And I was like, man, you know what? He's one of the greatest. He's one of the greatest. I think he comes from a time when you throw yourself into the fire kind of thing, right? Seinfeld was he was constructed. He was like breaking down walls and doing comedy late night. You know, like, that's him. That was that era.
So hold on. So when you said that he was like, you know, you see these new comics, you saying like it was almost a feeling like him being elitist in a way?
Yeah. So like I would say that he was definitely definitely pushing that. I 100% say that, dude, he's great. I love him, but whatever. But those episodes, it seemed like he was like, hey, newer comics don't get it. Yeah. They just don't know what to do. They're not like us. Like, do they kind of get it? And it was cool to see like he did that with same thing with Jay Leno, and Jay Leno was like, very defense, like he came to the defense and he was like, it's a new age. Yeah. People do stuff differently now. Yeah. People do stuff differently. People can they can be a graphic designer during the day and then they go do comedy at night and they're doing specials. You know, they're putting out specials and stuff. So it's cool to see like other people from that era also defending younger generations. But in any YouTube video you watch with Jerry Seinfeld, it's a very old school type thinking. It's old school mentality. It's like, yo, you hit the road, you hit every club that you can, you write constantly. You don't, I guess you don't take a class. I guess you don't take a class because learning by experience is way better than someone telling you, right? For me personally, I was like, hey man, you know what? one tells you like, oh, you gotta stick to the clubs.
Yeah.
Like hang out at the clubs, like help out. You know, like when you're at the end of the set, if you ever have a set at the Improv, right? Tip everybody. Like break down to 20, tip all the servers, right? Because there's going to be weekends when like the manager of the club is like, hey, who do you guys want as like a featured guest? And they're like, you know what, Michael tipped us. Like he was pretty awesome. He totally tipped us all the time. Just bring him back. You know, just things like that. And no one told me that before.
Yeah.
I took the class and I was like, oh, there's a whole other game. Comedy is a business. Comedy is a business. Comedy is not about laughs. Comedy is about how many people you fill in your seats.
Boom.
That's what it is. It's a business.
Yeah.
And you got to do the business part. And my Raj Sharma, another like mentor of mine, dude, he's brought me on a couple shows on the road and stuff, and he's told me, he's like, Sri, you do the show part of show business. You don't do the business part at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, he said that in front of my wife, man. She's the internal accountant auditor. She got all of a sudden it was like, you need to make a website. We need to get you cards. We need to like. She was like, we need to start figuring out merchandise.
Yeah.
And I was like, I never. Why? You know, like I don't. I'm only 2 years in.
Yeah.
2 years in, kind of getting to the 2 years, and I was like, there's nothing to stick with merchandise. And she was like, that doesn't matter. Like it's helped spreading your name, like you're building a following and stuff. And it's something that you know you kind of got to get into. I'm the worst part about that stuff. Yeah. I'm the worst part. That's the worst part that I don't do. But it's nice to have someone, you know, like being married to someone that's like very supportive of your career, and is also like,
she's always been super supportive. I must say that, like, I see her a lot when she shows up, and like she's right there, like always for you. So how did that work as far as like having that level of support, because most people don't get that type of support, let alone are even married. You know what I mean? So has she been really helpful or instrumental in your success and your growth? And tell me about that.
100%. You know how it is when she is a comedian's wife.
Yeah.
Now, you know, when she's out there, she's like, are you going to go socialize with people, take your business card? I'll record your set. I'll take pictures of you. She kind of handles that part.
Yeah.
I would love for this to become like such a real thing where I'm like, you're the manager. You're like you're going to be the manager. I'm going to be the dude. We're going to do this. I would love for it to transition into that. And eventually I wanted to. Like, that's the goal. Yeah. That's the goal. That's the plan. But she's the one that told me to go to these open mics. She was She was like, hey, you're really into it. You think about it. You talk about it. We've been watching comedy for like 4 days in a row. Like, I'd like to change the channel. Like, like, why don't you go to an open mic or whatever? So she's always kind of pushed me to it. And it's cool because there are days when I'm like, I don't want to do this. And she's like, come on, man. You've got like a vision board. Like, you know, you've got your vision. You've got your goals. She's always kind of pushing me that way. Marriage-wise, it's definitely something that you've got to be able to work out, right? I have days that I don't do comedy, and it's all about her. Yeah. You get me? You have to do that, right? You have to, right? Husbands, you have to. Husbands, boys, you got to. Yeah. Right? Like, that's what I'm saying. It's just one of those things where it's like, you have to do that, right? So...
like disconnect to connect. You know
disconnect to connect. And even doing those, I'm so bad, dude. I'm always like, hey, you want to hear this new joke? She's like, dude. You know? Yeah. So, but no, so yeah, you have to have the days where you don't do comedy. And then also we got really lucky because we worked together at our first jobs, right? So we were driving. We were driving with each other and everything. So I spent the day with her. And
how'd y'all meet actually? Like,
we met way back. I married my high school prom date.
What?
Yeah, this is a high school prom date, dude.
Wow.
We were like really good friends back then. I had a major crush on her, and she knew it. I followed her around like a puppy, dude. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then we went to prom, and I think I told her, like, it was back then on, like, I think I told her I liked her on AIM. Yeah. You know, I was like, yeah. I was like, this is the night that I'm doing this. Yeah. I'm like, yo, what's up? You know, I wasn't like, hey. I was like, trying to be all cool. Yeah. Yeah, she was like, nah, you know. She was like, I'm talking to some guy in Atlanta and stuff. And I was like, that's cool. Cool. Yeah, that's cool. Whatever. Yeah. Putting it out there. Yeah. We went to UTA together for 1 year. I met some of my best friends. One of my really good friends, his name is Ravi Godwani. He ended up going to A&M. I transferred out to UTSA, meet the state at UTA. We all still remained really good friends. Ravi is like, I was a best man at his wedding. He was the best man at my wedding, kind of thing. Like one of my best men. Yeah. He got married. He got married like 6 years ago, and it was a huge wedding. I'm talking about royal Indian wedding, dude.
Bro, I heard the most expensive weddings on earth have been, a lot of them been Indian weddings.
Yeah, we party.
Yeah.
We do it big.
I think the most expensive one on earth is like a $100 million one and a $76 million
That's probably
one.
like the Mittal or Ambani's, like the billionaire Indian guys. Yeah, dude.
That's like crazy, bro.
Yeah, it's not. They're doing stuff that's not even real.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? When you're like at that level, like I heard they're like one of their showers in like that huge mansion. He doesn't like in one of the showers. He was like, I want the water to come up instead of down. And then they have a drain on it. I was like, what kind of whack ass Inception shower?
Yeah.
And I was like, up, bro. That's kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's and the shower.
Yeah.
On an airplane. They wanted that on an airplane. And I was like, oh, on an airplane too.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. I've never been to an Indian wedding.
Dude, you never been?
I've never been, but I always see, because, you know, they kin Indian weddings to like Nigerian weddings.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's just like your moment to like show everyone like we're doing well, we're doing this.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like traditional, then you have the white wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, they make it kind of similar in the sense that they go all out.
Yeah.
But as far as how, like, because there's a Nigerian billionaire woman, she spent, I think, like $10 million on her son's wedding, had fresh flowers flown out. Yeah, stuff like that. So I was like, it's crazy, but I've never been. I always hear so much about Indian weddings.
Dude, I was trying to get into the Indian wedding game. I was DJing for, like, when I first started DJing, I was DJing in Sweet 16s, Indian Sweet 16s, and Indian weddings. Like, that's what I was DJing.
Yeah.
And you could be an Indian wedding DJ and be booked all year. Some of these Indian DJs make money, bro. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous because I had an Indian wedding too. But I had my Indian wedding in Cancun.
Yeah.
Not my.
It wasn't your choice?
I mean, it was my choice. Like I loved it. You know, it was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, like I made that choice actually. I said I wanted to do Cancun.
Yeah. So, did you have all your parents?
Yeah. So we were very. We got my people that I never thought I would see at my wedding from India were there. It was so awesome.
Wow.
I loved it. It was an amazing time. It was an absolutely amazing time. But yeah, man, so my boy Ravi, again, very like his dad is kind of very well known throughout Dallas, prominent businessman. I don't know if you've ever passed 635 and 75.
Yeah.
There's a poster with an Indian man named Jack Godwani who's selling the building right there.
Oh yeah,
His dad is Jack.
Is it the one that says something Red Law on it too?
No.
But it's in that area.
It's in that area. So it's 635, 75. Watch out for that poster, dude. Very, very cool family, very well known. So obviously they're going to do it big.
Yeah.
Right? It's when they typically say weddings are for everybody else. Mm-hmm. Indians make sure they're like taking care of everybody else. You know, same thing with, I think it's just other countries' weddings are like that. It's just a celebration. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's like an Americanized version of your. You know what I mean? So they look at it as maybe like a nod to the West. Like we could do it too. You know what I mean?
We also and it's also one of those things where when my cousin got married, my uncle's a businessman. He invited all his business partners, you know, like to the wedding and stuff. Like that's how they do it, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it was this kind of same kind of thing. And they had an elephant. We did an elephant. He got on the elephant and like around the hotel that we were at in Houston. It was such a fun time. It was such a big wedding.
Yeah.
And Mita was there. And we just kind of like, I hadn't seen her in forever. And we just kind of clicked. Like we came back to that wedding and I was the best. And you know when you're like the best man at the wedding, you know, like the groom was cool.
Yeah.
But the next coolest guy at the wedding is the best man.
Yeah.
And I was the best man. I was the guy that was like taking shots. I was like giving people shots. I was getting people drinks. I was like getting people food. I was taking care of like the groom. I was helping out with the groom over here. I was like talking to all these.
Yeah.
I was doing my thing, bro. And I nailed my speech. Right? I was laughing. So I was like, I'm the man. I love this. I got so messed up, dude. I got so messed up, and Mita ended up taking care of me that night. And
how did she know to I mean, all of y'all had a relationship, like a friendship.
Yeah, so we were hanging out that entire weekend. Like, I was doing all this, and then I ended up, like, out of all the girls that I was talking, like, playing the field. But I ended up going back to meet her a lot because we were just having a good time with joking. And then she ended up taking care of me that night. And I remember I was like, dude, I tell the story where I was like James Bond that night. And I was like, yo, dude, like, we've been doing this thing. Like, let me ask you on, like, a date. Right? You know? And she was like, you were not like James Bond. You were so messed up that one of your eyes was closed. Like, one of my eyes was closed. And I'm like, oh, God. Yeah, but she was like, but if you ask me again in the morning, I'll let you know. So I remembered. She didn't think I was going to remember, I think. Yeah. Right? But I remembered. I asked her, and then we just went out. Started going out from there. So.
Wow, that's amazing, bro. And I guess it just started going up from there as far as...
Yeah, we dated. She moved in. She moved into my Frisco, like we were doing some stuff at the Frisco house, and then we moved into officially together in our own apartment, got married, just bought a house. So we're doing our thing. It's cool to see, like, you always want everything in all parts of your life to progress too. Yeah. Right. Like that was a big thing for me because I was like, she's supporting me with comedy and we're progressing in ways, we're moving in a good direction. I've got to support her and all these other decisions. Like, we got to get the house, right? We've got to do, like kids are probably next, like that sort of thing. So
taking lead, I like that, bro.
I'm all about it, man. I'm all about it. You got to do what you got to do.
Man, so what's next for you? Like, what do you see going forward now that things are a little bit normal now in Texas? I wouldn't say normal, but things are open back up 100%. What's next for you? What do you see in your future?
I just want to keep doing more shows, man. Honestly, like, when everything opened back up, I was... like, people were, like, kind of skeptical and everything was at half capacity. And I was just, like, I was at my wit's end, man. I was kind of done with TikTok. I was kind of burnt out, honestly.
Oh, tell me more about that.
I was making 4 or 5 videos a day. And I got, like, to 10,000 followers. And that was my goal. It was, like, 10,000. And then when I got to 10,000, I was like...
Nothing changed?
It wasn't that nothing changed. It was right at the moment when half capacity opened back up. And I was like, I'm going to make a decision right now to either... really do this or that, and I just wanted to get back into comedy. Now here's my thing. I took a break from TikTok. I'm getting right back on it. Yeah, I'm gonna get right back on it. I've been writing sketches and ideas. We've got a new camera. We kind of got like a new setup because I'm gonna start doing stuff at my new house now. But
even better.
Yeah, because I'm like,
you got room.
Yeah, because now I'm sitting here like, you're stupid for stopping. You're really dumb for stopping. I get it. I took my break or whatever, and I've heard I'm getting the same speech from my wife. Right? She was like, "You got to keep it up because that's your social media thing," and it works. And sketches work a different part of your brain comedy wise. You know, like it's a kind of a little different writing style. It's like, so I was like, I got to get right back on it. So, but yeah,
Is it difficult doing both as far as like writing stand up and doing TikTok? And having a job and
I think if you're constantly writing, if you're in that mindset, like people know, like when you're in that creative mindset, like you look at something, you immediately think of an idea. Like that's how it is for me, right? Like and when it was TikTok, everything was sketch ideas. Yeah. When it was comedy, everything was bits. Yeah. Everything was bits. And now for me, I'm like, hey, this is a bit. And this I can make into a sketch. Like I'll write, and sometimes I'll switch it up too. I'll be like, I wrote this as a sketch, but I'm gonna try it out on stage. Like if I reword it, maybe I can try it out on stage, and then here's a bit that I'm acting out. I'm like, maybe I should turn that into a sketch. So it kind of works both ways. But I think it's just something you work at.
Yeah, I relate to that pretty deeply because I feel like my mind is split up in threes. That's why I even did this whole podcast, which is like business, family, comedy, because when I'm in business mode, I can't even think comedy, not even a little bit. Like it's just strictly on like business. I'm thinking comedy, I can't even think business at all. And it's almost like your brain switches from one section to another. Yeah. And I have to even cut it off even when I'm with family, like being present with my family. Yeah. And those are the things where my mind constantly like switches, and you can't like do both. You know what I mean? Like where I'm trying to do business and like watch The Boys, or trying to handle something in business while also writing comedy. Like it's literally impossible for me. So I know it's like literally like a separate part of my brain that you have to switch to and switch on and off.
Right. And I think you see that with comedians. Some comedians are just always on. Like the guys that are like above us, like on the road, like featuring and stuff. Yeah. Always on. Like when you're talking to them, you're like, are we having a normal conversation?
Yeah.
Are you working out a bit?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, so there's and I've gotten it too sometimes. Like I'll be working a bit out on a date with my wife, Mita, and she'll be like, dude.
She could tell, yeah.
She'll be like, cut it out.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
She'll be like, well, do this stuff on your open night.
Yeah,
Not here at dinner.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day dinner, you know, like stuff like
It's
that.
a little annoying though when some people. This is my personal opinion. I feel like there's a such thing as just being funny, right?
Right.
Whereas some people who are constantly trying to be funny.
Yeah.
And it's annoying because you can't even have a normal conversation. Not even like personally. I'm talking about in any context of where they're having conversations. They're constantly trying to hit the joke. You know what I mean? Versus just talk how they talk, and it happens to be funny. I feel like that's a difference in. I would say strategy. I just feel like it's just different. It's annoying when I see people trying all the time.
There's a social awareness to things, like a tact kind
Yeah,
of thing. Because
yeah.
you're like, because at some point, you know when you're the guy that you're like, yo, I'm too much.
Yeah.
Or you should know.
Yeah.
I feel like you
Yeah.
should know. Because some people, I think, power through that feeling. And you're like,
Yeah.
you're like, look at the balls on this guy.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like, the audacity. You know, but no, I think if you're like socially aware, you kind of know, right? And then you're right. You're right. It's one of those things where I think the greats, like the big timers, like everything melts together. Everything kind of melts together. But at that time, but also at that level, comedy is business. Comedy is all aspects. And then when comedy becomes business, then you have more time to concentrate on family life, like when you're doing family life, because then you're like, hey, my comedy is my business.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that sort of thing. And then you're always going to bring this part of your life to this life. Everything's connected with comedy, right? You're talking about work. You're talking about, you know, like this.
Yeah,
and
you're
that.
inspired. Everything inspires the other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you're at that level, I think I don't think it gets easier. I think you're just like your mind transitions into that flow.
So when you say you're gonna start getting into like more shows and all that, are you being chosen, or are you actually like, you know, networking? Like, what is your?
I try to network as much as possible. When I say I want to get on more shows, I mean I want to get on more shows.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if like, you know,
Yeah, no,
I don't know if it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, but I've saw a Backdoor. She's been Linda Stogner, who runs Backdoor with Jan. She's been putting me up consistently on the weekends. I emceed. I've been emceeing for like the last like few weeks, which is cool. Like to do it on an actual show day, like the Thursday or the Friday, Saturday. So I want to just keep getting better there. Eventually, the goal is I want to try to get rostered at Hyenas, right? You want to be on the Hyenas roster.
Yeah.
You want to be on if the improv does work in rosters, right? Or something like where they've done those like This Comedian and Friend shows.
Yeah.
You know, you want to try to be on like those Comedian and Friend shows. I've done those a couple times. So just try to keep it consistent with going out there. I want to perform outside of Texas goal-wise. Like I'd like to do a show outside of Texas, which is cool. That would be like a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Just to be like, you know, and if you were really booked for it too, right? Like if you were booked for it, that would be cool. I think that would be like maybe like one show this year outside of Texas is a goal, right?
Wow. Well, this, bro, has been a great conversation. Like, for real. Like, I really enjoyed it. Look, I measure the success of a conversation by how much I, like, laugh and smile, because I enjoyed this one. This is amazing. And do you have any final messages for the people? Anything you want to say?
Nothing really, man. Thank you guys for supporting, you know, Michael. This podcast is awesome. Episode 64.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Follow me on Instagram at Sri Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah, we'll put it in the description.
Yeah, dude. That's it, man. That's it. That's all I can say.
Appreciate it. Well, thank y'all for joining us. We enjoyed it. We love y'all. Peace out. And we love y'all. Y'all stay safe and be merry. Peace out.